Kia ora, my name's Breka Kiwi, and this is my Trebuchet deck. Something a bit unusual, but this is the sort of thing I love about Sorcery TCG. So here you can see the Payload Trebuchet, which is a 5-cost elite weapon that flings Ort far and wide. If you give this weapon to one of your minions and tap them and an ally, so you have to have two things there that both tap, you discard a card from your hand and deal damage equal to that card's mana cost to each unit at a target location up to 3 steps away. So it's got a long reach, it's not a projectile, so it gets through a few protections of that. It hits everything there, which is nice. And when I first saw it, I loved it. So, obviously, to make that work, you need a bunch of big things that are good to throw at people. So I have the Pendulum of Peril to throw at people. I have the Undertaker engines, 2 of those to throw at people, so hitting for 6 and hitting for 7. I have a Mountain Giant and a Midland Army, both hitting for 8. Ratanus Titan hitting for 7. The King of the Realm and 3 Formorians, both hitting for 7. And even the Wyverns hitting for 6 and the Warriors, Amazon Warriors hitting for 5 are pretty good. I've got a Craterize to hit for 8, and I could even throw the Guards to hit for 6. Now, that gives me the ammunition for the Trebuchet. But the other thing that you need is people to control the Trebuchet. So you need a lot of little guys that you don't mind tapping in order to fire these things. So to that end, I have got a Border Militia, which summons some foot soldiers. I've got Guards that summons foot soldiers. I have Frontier Settlers and Leprechauns and Land Surveyors and Dryads and Labourers, all these little dudes that are I'm perfectly happy to tap most of them to fire off a Trebuchet. Now, the Trebuchet is elite, so you only get 2 of them in your whole deck. So I've also got another weapon that they can use in the same way, which is a Siege Ballista, which is not nearly as fun, but it's handy. I have 3 Dwarven digging teams that I use as defense against being buried. They're exceptional, so you get 3 of them. They're 2 cost, 2 earth, 2 power. They have burrowing, and they give burrowing to everyone else on my side nearby. So those are really handy. The other thing I've focused on is if you don't find your Trebuchet, you need something else to do. So all of these little dudes, the Settlers put out extra sites. The Leprechaun gives me another site. The Land Surveyor gives me another site. The Dryads give me more mana. The Field Labourers give me more mana. I've also got Mixed Terrors and Onyx Cores to make sure I've got enough mana. And with all of those, I should be able to play the Undertaker engine, or the Titan, or the Midland Army anyway. And then I can just use those big things to try and beat up the opponent. In my site list, I have a battlefield, which conjures a broken weapon here, so I can get back my trebuchets if they're gone. I have villages to get lots more soldier tokens. I have a Dwarven Forge, which reduces the cost of the trebuchet. And I have impenetrable copses because I can shoot out of them, but others can't use projectiles into them, because I'm not actually using any projectiles here. I'm using a ballista and a trebuchet. I've recently changed it over to have a sorcerer, because I used to have a geomancer just because it's all earth pretty much, but that's not the best way to support what I'm trying to do, I think. I often ran out of spell cards at the end, so with a sorcerer I should hopefully be able to draw to my trebuchet faster and ammunition for the trebuchet faster, whereas the geomancer was good for building up a mana base quickly. I think I can take a little more time and use the trebuchet to kill things, is my plan. Yeah, that's basically the deck. I am not a good player of sorcery, but I have a lot of fun with this deck. I would be very curious to know if you find it, if this looks interesting to you, or you have any thoughts about how I could make sure I get enough time to get my trebuchet up and running, or other cards that you think would synergize with what I'm trying to do here. You have to remember though, I'm not necessarily trying to be the best deck. I'm not necessarily trying to be a tournament busting winner of a deck. What I want is a deck that focuses on using a Payload Trebuchet and uses it well. I'm considering in Gothic, I've seen hints of the Necromancer that puts out lots of skeletons, every turn putting out another skeleton, and I'm considering that for this deck because lots of little dudes, little skeletons running the Trebuchet is totally interesting to me. I would love to see some other weapons. What do you call them? Mangonels, and I feel like scorpions are a type of siege weapon. I would love to see some more siege weapons that might help me round out the options for my siege weapons that I could put on all my foot soldiers, and in a similar way use big dudes as ammunition or something. So yeah, I'm hoping that we see some more of those as sorcery continues. So yeah, that's my little weird, non-mainstream deck tech, and I'd love to hear your thoughts.